this is something that has been plaguing me, right? And I did a plan on how to stop human sex trafficking because I challenged myself. Well, I challenged the people. I said, show me show me something that you have a problem with, and I'll show you how the applications can help fix it, right? So, I sent that out immediately. I said, yeah, no one's going to contact me. They don't talk to me. So I said, well, let me just pick one. I said, well, I'll pick human sex trafficking, and I used it as a challenge to see if I could solve it, right? And I'm compulsive. I'm a compulsive problem solver, right? That's how I keep myself entertained. I do these thought experiments, and I do them constantly, right? And it's my it's my pacifier, so to speak. Some people read or whatever. I just do these. I problem solve. And so I said, well, okay, well, what's the problem with how to end human sex trafficking? And I went through, well, these are the problems, and how do you get rid of all those barriers to have them stop? And that's basically what the plan was, right? It's kind of like the Colin Powell doctrine. So it's controversial, and I think it'd work, but it's just too buried. I mean, it's too ingrained. There's so much of it that it would be impossible to really end it, except for this one time, right? And it's when the harlot system crashes. And so I revived it, but after I did that and turned it in, which was something that I wanted to get out of my head, right? It's hard to keep your head inside this problem because it's shocking, and that's the problem. I think a lot of people don't want to keep their heads in this thing long enough to fix it, and it's so ingrained that it strikes at the very heart of what the problem is, right? The harlot, where everyone is blackmailed by this stuff, and it's totally covered up by the governments and all that. So it's a huge problem, and I just flicked it off right when I briefed it. I said, "Here you go, Ivanka. This is a plan," and I left it at that. And then I had this thing come up, right, where I did this painting. And it was one of Elon's paints that had a cat that looked like a cat was in there. So it wasn't an auto paint or anything like that. I was just trying to be artistic and trying to make a scene, and it was screwing it, it's all messed up, so I was trying to salvage it. And like there was a big hole there, and I put that priestess in, and the smoke there, I just scratched it down and then put little dots on top of it to make it look like there's people. And I left it at that, and then there's this monster head, and see his teeth, and there's this weird kind of zombie person sitting there, and it was just an odd painting. And I did it on my phone, and I went to bed, and the next day I was transferring it onto my laptop, and I said, holy cow, look at this thing, right? And I'm looking deep inside there, and it's just like, here's three naked girls there, and there was a dead woman sitting right there, and this priestess was coming out of her chest, and he turned it upside down, and it was a dungeon scene, right? I'll find the right picture. It was a dungeon scene. So it freaked me out. I mean, this is probably the only one of the paints where I really was disturbed by it, right? And I think I did a talk to Elon saying, "Fuck at this thing, man," because Elon is my I know he doesn't listen. He doesn't consider me his friend, but I, at the time, and still do, consider him a friend because I've decided he was, right. And I know I'm delusional, but it helps, right? It helps me. I like talking to him because I like the shit that he goes through. So I say, why is this happening? And I'm looking at this as if this priestess was saying something to me, right? And I say, what is she saying to me, right? Like, what is she doing? Like, what does she what is she conveying to me, right? And that's what I say to these pictures that come up. I said, what's it trying to tell me? And I said, yeah, that's, that she's the goddess of truth, the priestess, right? Like, this is it, man. This is real shit. That's what she's saying. And she's saying, we're sick of the suffering that happens with the sex trafficking. So you need to address it, right? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I did my stop the traffic thing, but I was just a plan, right? And I said, yeah, she wants me to, or they want me to talk about it during this briefing I'm giving Donald Trump. And by the way, guys, I recorded it and sent it to him, right? But that counts as a briefing to the president. So I briefed the president on this thing, but it wanted me to include it, so I included it in the briefing. And and that was that, right? And we're waiting for his second term all this time, and yeah, he's going to do something when he becomes president. And so that was a plan on how we would execute stop the traffic, and here he is coming up on it, right? So it happens again. I'm sitting here, and let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I said a lot of things this morning, and stuff that people wouldn't dream of even thinking about, let alone tell everybody in this group that is, if you look at the caliber of the people that I'm sending it to, it's frightening to do that, right? And that's why God sent a messenger to you to show you these things, right? I'm the only guy around that could probably admit to seeing this, let alone trying to convince you guys to see it also, right? So I serve a purpose, right? Being eccentric, I serve a purpose. I get this painting again. Okay, I said a lot of things this morning, and it got me blocked, right, or got me clipped. And I agree with it, right? So I don't know the things that I'm saying, who could hear them and who can't, because I'm not briefed into them, right? So, but certainly they have to look at it to make sure that what I'm saying is not gonna, I'm not spilling the beans, right? So I'm assuming that I'm talking to the right people now, and I don't know if it's everyone or I'm just clipped for certain people, and it might just be one person, right? Some guy that's monitoring this thing, and I don't, and that's the right person, right? So I've given you a glimpse of what's going to happen in the future, and quite frankly, it terrifies me, right? It terrifies me because I don't have any plan to escape where I'm at, and I'm in a wheelchair now, and it horrifies me, right? So when I stopped watching these things, watching World War III come at me, and I saw a clip, or I listened to a clip while I was napping, and it just terrified me again. So I said, yeah, we got to get organized. And so I organized everyone, realizing, fuck, I'm not anywhere near these guys, right? I'm in Thailand, and it just goes to show I'm balanced, and I'm living in a twilight world. I see things that no one else would dare look at. So I just let it out this morning. Here's what's going to happen. It looks like we're going to get nuked, right? The West is going to get nuked, but the Tulsa factory, they're going to be building these robots because why? There's no people, right? There's not a lot of people left. And I said, that's why Elon's always talking about having kids, and we need more people, because he already knows, right? They must know, because they're preparing for it, and the robots are going to be playing a big part in the recovery. So I show these things to you, and I tell you, knowing that, man, I'm really losing my, my credibility here talking about stuff that's so outrageous. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you the things that I'm seeing, and I'm super psychic, right? I'm psychic and I'm empathic, and I have all these skills that are going to help you decide, because you won't be able to see them, right? You guys aren't going to be able to see them because you're stuck in PC for one thing, so you'll never allow yourself to look at these unnatural things that will make it look stupid, right? If you're wrong. So I'm gonna just show them to you, knowing that it's over anyway, right? If none of this shit happens, I'm not gonna see you, and if it does happen, I'm not gonna see you, right? Because we're gonna be in a catastrophe. So, I share them, and inside your mind, you'll connect the dots, right? I said, what is this? What's she saying to me, right? If she was talking to me, what was she saying? And the thing that I came up with is, I said, we're sick and tired of the suffering that's happening in human sex trafficking. You got to stop it, right? You got to stop it. And I said, well, why am I going to do it? I said, yeah, well, I did that stop the traffic thing that I sent out. So what now, right? What's it want me to do? Well, I was briefing Donald Trump, and the way I was able to do that, I knew he was El Trumpo, and I said, yeah, that's him. So I tweeted him. I said, sir, if you want to know how my system, because I'm constantly talking about it in front of him, do you want to know how my system could help you in your administration? Let me know, right? So he sends out something that says, good night, Patriots. Only you could decide how we're going to get our country back, right? And I said, that's what he wants, right? So he's just shooting it out. Hey, so he wanted to know how my system is going to help bring our country back. So that was my briefing. And then this came up to say, hey, include this in your briefing. And that's what I came out, right? You got to stop this. Well, how am I going to do it? Well, you're going to tell the guy that really wants to have it stopped. He's not bullshitting you. He's not trying to look good. He's really trying to be good, right? So I briefed it. I did the briefing, and it included human sex trafficking, right? And a couple weeks later, I figured out it's not going to work. It's too ingrained, right? And if we ran through what I proposed, it's going to cost millions and millions, right? Or it would be impossible to say that you're gonna eliminate it, right? And we had the harlot to worry about too that would stop us. So it came to me that we could truncate it, and we could do it during the rescue, right? When the harlot system goes down, that's when we jump. That's when we can pounce on the system and just sit on it, and that's how we're going to eliminate it, right? So I did another supplement briefing and this time I sent it to Barron, right? Because Barron, he's a lot older than you think, right? And his tweets are really he has leadership in his tweets, right? Like he's always saying, hang in there, guys, we're about to get it, hang in there. And he would come up with just things that are adult like, right? Like trust in God. He said that one time, and he erased it because he probably felt silly. It's hard to express yourself in religious terms here, but he said, I said, yeah, that is exactly what we should say to each other, right? Like, trust God, don't worry, trust God. And so I said, well, I'm going to send it to him. I'll just send it to him, and I'll say, you look at this, and if it is something worthy, show your dad, or show your dad, right? And I kind of coached him on how to be a leader, because I think he is going to be one. And I sent it to him, knowing that he would. It was sound, right? The operation or whatever was sound, and it was going to get his dad to his number. Oh, and this is how it happened, right? So he's El Trumpo again, and I said, sir, if you can get me Steve Banner to get on this team, right? I said, I'll show you how you're going to get to your number with human sex trafficking, right? Because he was really discouraged that he didn't get his number. And so, I waited a while, and then the next tweet I just sent it back. I said, okay, sir, I'll show you. I'll send it to Barron. I'll send you the briefing to Barron. As if he was saying, yeah, well, I'll get Steve. And so that's how I sent it to him. And I wanted to, because I wanted to get, I wanted to see if Barron, I've never heard him speak, but I think he's, I say to myself, I think he's going to be a king. So I just wanted to see if he would get involved to the point where he would be on my group and he would brief the Trumps on the Kingdom of God stuff, right? And I said, yeah, he would be very, he would be more attentive than any of you, because it's a big deal, right? And I'm sure he would like to get involved with what's going on, because I think he sits in with his dad on a lot of things, and it's just, he would know, right? And certainly I could have tweeted Donald Trump 20 times until someone contacted me, but that's over with, and that was a while ago. And this shows up, right? So you put these two pictures together, and you see this woman is getting is laid out, and all these devils are around her, and it's even more violent, but it's a totally different scene now, right? Do you see it? It's a totally different scene, and that monster is closer and is involved in it. And I'm looking at it, and it's scaring the heck out of me, because I'm looking at this this devil looking right at me, right? Like, so again, here it is again. So this time I'm saying, what now, right? What do you want me to do now? Right? Why are you showing me this now? Because look at it. You couldn't have paint a picture like that, turn it upside down, and it's another picture, and then put it together, and it's a third picture. Do you understand? Like, you couldn't paint this to reflect that, and then put them together, and it reflects this. Do you understand? So it's supernatural, right? And guys, I didn't plan on it. I did one painting, turn it upside down, and there's another scene in there. And then when I put it, I had to show it in a talent, so I wanted to show one side and the other, so I put them together like that. And I didn't see it. And I'm sitting here I'm kind of looking at it sideways on my bed, and I'm thinking, no. And and for me, I didn't want to see it, right? Like, don't look at this, right? You don't want to look at this again, right? And I'm looking at it. I said, holy cow, this is even more evil, more violent. And it is showing, yeah, Jerry, do not forget about human sex trafficking, right? And that's what I'm saying this picture's telling me. And I said, well, what now? Why now, right? And I'm trying to think. And I said, well, I'm trying to get these talents sold. I'm trying to, what else am I doing? Oh, I'm trying to remind people of the rescue, right? I'm trying to remind everyone that we have to do this rescue. Why? Because I'm terrified of World War III coming up, right? And it's coming up soon, and we're not prepared. And is anybody thinking about the rescue at all, right? I think, yeah, they are. They have to be. Elon has to know, or his group has to know, right? I have to make it so we include the rescue the rescue of the human sex trafficking during the rescue, right after the harlot system collapses. That's when we go in, right? And that was the briefing to Barron on how we would get our number, because he would get his number because it would collapse the system, and all we have to do is run in there, collect the victims, find what perps are left, but they're going to be stunned, right? So we just sit on the apparatus. We stand on the apparatus until it goes away, and that's the opportunity, because after the harlot system collapses, it's going to try to rebuild itself, and that's why we need to do the rescue in the first place, right? We have to put the new system down so the old harlot system doesn't rise up again, and that's what the intent of the rescue. Bloody angels fast ascending after the toll of the bell, meaning after the nukes go off, that's when we go down and we put this new system in. And I don't know if that's the case, right, if they're planning on it, but I'm telling you that's what it is, right? And this thing was telling me, yeah, don't forget about this. That we need to address we need to stop this when you do the rescue, and that's what I've been proposing, right? So I've been revamping my efforts to get Steve Banner up and running, or listening to me, because he's the guy, right? He's the guy that that is in that other photo of mine that shows he's the leader. Okay, well there's there's a good one. There's Steve Banner wasting his time, going to go to prison, and I know he didn't want to do it, but he's saying, hey, I'm doing good for the cause being in prison, but it's not, right. It demoralizes us when we see licensed Steve Banner in prison, and they do it for that very reason, right? They want to put Donald Trump in jail, and it demoralizes the people. And he's a leader, and I have him in this paint that shows that he's going to be leading this, a rescue. Okay, so there's a good picture. I put his face in there just to show him. So I said, yeah, Steve, you're this Bigfoot, right? And it just looks like him. And I did this painting, probably 6 years ago. This is probably before even I knew the crew here, right? And it just shows like this was my next journey, right? And I called it negotiating with the gods. Like we're trying to negotiate what my next my journey is going to be, right? Because I just finished one. And I said, yeah, well, this is me, because that's how I used to sit before I went in the Air Force. I used to sit in the park like that. And I said, well, this is my journey, and then these guys are going to do it, right? These guys are the people that are going to do this mission. And I didn't know what it was at first. And, at first I said, yeah, Steve, you're going to do Whisper X. And you're this Bigfoot, right? Because this is the team that I was trying to put together. And I said, yeah, Steve was going to run this thing. And then it just turned out that the reason why there's these kids hanging on to him is because it's sex trafficking that he's going to do, right? He's going to be running he's going to be leading the rescue for sex trafficking, right? Do you see how there's a girl there, he's holding on to a young girl there, and if you look at it closely, it's sex, it's like he's rescuing these kids. You see it? And it's certainly not me, right? That I say is me. That's Steve, right? Out of all the people, and I was looking at him before I even realized that he was the Bigfoot, right? And then when I saw the Bigfoot, I used it to help me get him interested. And he blocked me because I used to goof on him all the time, right? And that's just how I was. Like I said, I felt like I knew him. And he's a public figure, so he doesn't like being goofed on in public, and I just do stupid things. Like one time I saw him say something on one of these posts that, what's your favorite 80s band, right? And he's really passionate about these two bands. And I said, White Snake and I think Bon Jovi or whatever. And I said, Steve, he didn't ask you what you put in, what tape you put in when your girlfriend gets in the car. You wanted to know what your favorite band is, right? They said White Snake's a girl band. And he blocked me, and to this day he doesn't, I don't think he listens to me, and I'm always thinking he's not, but maybe he is. But I made the other plea to him again. I said, yeah, Steve, you're it. And I said, what's going to happen, this is going to kill you, right? This you're going to get involved in this human sex trafficking rescue, and you're going to die doing it, right? Because if you turn this thing upside down, whoever this guy is going to die doing it, right? And I said, but you're gonna be
It's a guy
known
laying
for the
in-
one
in
that
the rubble,
started this,
right? And I
this,
said to myself,
this
well,
mass
it's me,
change,
but it's
right?
not.
Because you're gonna save all these
this
kids.
guy, whoever
And
this
it's a
guy
good way to
is.
go anyway, right? And I said, contact me in public, because there's a lot of people that want to get involved in this that aren't getting involved because, I'm like the strange kid in school that no one wants to sit next to, but when someone sits next to you, then everyone is comfortable, right? But right now, everyone's standoffish because they don't know I'm for real. They don't know I'm for real, so. I just say, the revolution starts with the second man coming up and standing behind the first one, right? That's when it starts. The first guy stands up and says, hey, we got to change this. No one will do anything until the second guy stands up and says, yeah, and then the revolution starts. So I'm expecting that sometime, or maybe not. But it's going to happen some way or the other, because I'm planting the idea into the people that are going to make the decisions, right? Hopefully. And they can't ignore it, right? They can't ignore not doing anything when there's the opportunity to do it. And would it be better if Steve just stayed in jail for the next 4 years, which he might, or is it better that he would try to get him out so we can do this thing? What would be better with his time? Certainly would be this, no matter what. And if he takes it over, it's not like he's going to be working for me, and that's one of the big things that I have to solve, is because Steve's not going to be working for me for anything, right? If anything, I'll be working for him. So I conceded. I said, yeah, Steve, you learn it. I'll show you what it is, and then you run it, and I'll work for you, right? And I got a heart from Donald Trump Jr., right? Because they love the guy, right? And he gave me a heart, and like I said, Donald Trump Jr. doesn't give the hearts out at all. Very rarely have you seen him give a heart out, because he has problems with giving his heart away. He's been tainted. So he erased it, right? I said, yeah, fuck. I said, Steve, he gave me a heart, right? Which means that he wants you to do this. And he erased it, right? And I said, so he had to get rid of it because he's thinking of the art of the deal with you. But he erased it probably because no one's supposed to talk to me, because why? I have something that they're working on already. That's what I believe. I'm not nefarious. I'm not doing anything that is bad for the country. Matter of fact, it's the opposite, right? I'm coming up with a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm bringing the kingdom of God down, and they know that. I'm one of the two people that find the pearls of great wealth. I found out I get organic intelligence in. It's going to help get our AI all-knowing, a bunch of stuff. Well, why are they not talking to you? Well, because they're working on it already. They've taken it and they're working on it. And they don't have any time. They don't want me to go around and start messing things up, right? So I got to continue on, right? I got a bunch of things in the fire that I need to release, and I think it's our Creator giving it to me to release to you, so someone will pick it up and do it. And it's not hurting anybody anyway, right? So I'm saying it's Steve that's gonna run the rescue, along with the big rescue after the Harlot system is destroyed. And this auto paint is screaming him, right? As we get closer and closer to the wire, it's becoming blatantly obvious that if we're going to do this rescue, it's going to be Steve that's going to do it, according to this. And Steve's a leader, by the way. He's not a strategist. I say that he read the wrong books in college, and the books that he read are archaic, and they're not going to solve the problems we have of today. But I think Steve probably gravitated towards strategy because he's a leader, right? And leaders need to have good strategy. And what he's doing is he's given his craft to somebody else to run, and he's been watching it. and he knows he could do it. So when you see him take charge, he's a leader with pent up leadership, I say. So the task is worthy of a Steve Bannon. It's worthy of an Elon Musk. It's this rescue is worthy of, all you guys, right? It's not beneath you to look into what you guys are going to be doing anyway, right? But we need to include rescuing the human trafficking, which means when the system collapses, we run in there, grab the victims, and we get the rest of the perpetrators, and we sit on the system, right? We step on the system until it goes away. We don't let it come back when the after the harlot's destroyed, right? We're going to build a new system, and the beast lasts for 3.5 years, and then it becomes a kingdom of God. So we have to start thinking about what our good system is, our perfect system, right? Head towards the kingdom of God, and all of these things will be done unto you, right? First, seek the kingdom of God. We're not going to solve this. We're not going to fix this system now. Start heading towards the kingdom, right? Start building the ideal. And part of it is getting rid of the parasite that has been strangling us for 2,000 years. But I've been pushing for him, man, and I want them to pick him, because he's a leader, man. When it's his turn to lead, he knows how to lead, and we'll get it done with him. And
Come on, let's do it together, because you know what the industry is. I know how to do this, and I relate to you, right? And maybe he wants to do it, maybe he doesn't, but he'll regret it if he doesn't, right? He'll regret it, especially when he's put on the planet to do this, and like the rest of you.
Is human trafficking. It is a vast industry generating billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Governments and elements within governments are involved. Elements within the military are deeply invested in this. Elements within the intelligence community around the world are involved in articulating and ensuring this. The international banking fraternity is absolutely involved in it and underwriting this activity. So human trafficking is the big concern that we have right now. And we believe that only by releasing this story into the light of human trafficking and child sex abuse do we begin to get people of the world to realize that we are caught up in biblical prophecy of epic proportion.
Absolutely.
And it requires our attention. We can no longer pretend that it is not happening.
No.
What I do know is that as far as I am concerned, Donald Trump is absolutely doing the right thing. In the same way that I absolutely believe that Vladimir Putin and Duterte in Philippines and Modi in India to some extent, and I can name a few other leaders in Central South America who seem to be extraordinary, and a couple in Africa who seem to be very enlightened. And certainly for Donald Trump to announce that in this next calendar year, he is going to end 25 million people being trafficked. This is a huge statement. We're very excited about it. People of the world, outside of their dream spell, and to begin to recognize that it is their sleep state that is maintaining the sacrifice of innocence, to pretend that it's not going on.
Break the spell.
The breakthrough is psychological more than anything else. Psycho-emotional and psycho-intellectual. But once that breakthrough occurs at the psycho-emotional level and the psycho-intellectual level, at the cultural level, there is a complete shift in paradigm. And then instantaneously, these apparatus of Interpol or the police or the executive, legislative, judicial branches of government will be retaken by the people and will be used to good effect. And that is what we expect to see. Because right now we can do a judicial commission. We can show the truth of the matter. London, Washington, the Vatican, they're all controlling the numbers and lying about the facts. And the mainstream media, who is their whore, acting as their whore, is telling the lies to the people. And the people are the ones responsible, in my view, not the devils behind the curtain. The people who are asleep are the ones responsible for the Canaanite ritualism. Now it is an invitation to wake up.
It's no secret that the both of us